What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Thursday night, at least here in Denver, and joining us for our TogetherMess Big Brother after show. I'm excited. Jordan's feeling a little under the weather, so we're going to take your guys' questions. Make sure you write them in tonight because we're going to take a lot of questions tonight after our recap. But what do you want to do? Recap the week or kind of talk about Vince's reign as HOH? How do you think he did?
I didn't think he did good at all. I was like, what are you doing? He just like switches sides. He doesn't just stick. I thought at one point that he was going to stick with an alliance, and he's just too all over the place for me. I think I'm done with Vince.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him, but now I think I'm done.
He's got a final pair with everybody in his house. The only thing he doesn't have is a pair of balls. Ayo! That was all I wrote for tonight, and I was waiting to say that. But I'm taking shots. I don't want to take cheap shots. He's playing as hard as he can. But I think he made a bad move by not putting up Rachel. I think now was the time.
That was your move to change the game. And if he did make it in the final two, that is something he could say, I backdoored Rachel. Right now, Rachel deserves to win.
Rachel's outplaying everybody.
She's doing a fabulous job. And she has just surrounded herself. She's got everybody protecting her. She's doing a very good job. Other people are just scared of her. And no one wants to go against her. And she deserves to win.
Right. Depending on how you feel about Rachel, because I know it's a love-hate thing. I very much know that. We played with her. She's outplaying everybody. You got to say, if you're just focusing on Big Brother, I get the intimidation factor. I get how she treats people. If you're just focused on the game of Big Brother as its purity, she's outplaying everybody in that house. And if it wasn't for, I would say, Keanu and Rachel, the show would be kind of a drag.
It would. I would be so boring. And I really like Keanu. I think he really means well. I think he's sweet. They were frenemies. Now they're enemies again. And I think he's got to win or he's going up every single time. And they don't have the numbers anymore. Him, Kelly, and Lauren. And those are the three that are going to go up if the other side gets it.
Yeah, Vince, we're kind of skipping over the whole week and the big moves that happened. I think if Mickey didn't take herself off the block, it would have been interesting to see if she would have been the one going home despite that BB Blockbuster. And speaking of that, just as a caveat, I'm over to BB Blockbuster. I'm ready to get back to 2 nominees.
Yeah.
You're on the block. Good old backdoors going on.
But speaking of the Blockbuster, congrats to Kelly. I like Kelly. I've gone back and forth with her because she kind of is a wild card all over the place. But I felt bad for her on this past episode. And she's on the hammock by herself and everybody was just isolating her. I don't like that.
Yeah.
That makes me feel bad. The game's hard enough. It's mentally hard enough. And she just seems like flower child to me, just like hiker. She reminds me like Colorado girl.
Yeah, and guys, again, we don't watch the live feed, so don't write in and say you guys need to watch the live feeds. CBS portrays what they portray. That's what they go off of, and I understand if that might not be a big part of who they are. They might be acting a little different on the live feeds. It still happened. They still said it, so it is still part of the game technically. But I get what you're saying. If you guys watch your live feeds 24/7, you might see a different picture, not just with Kelly, but from everybody in the house. But we're just going off of what we see on CBS. We have busy lives. Takes up a lot of time already to do this as well as watch the show, and that's enough for us. But I get your concerns with who is who and who's portrayed in which way. So I get all that stuff, but we're just going strictly off the show.
I would like to see Keanu or Kelly win and just see the other side, what it feels like for them to be on the block.
Yeah, I think Vince is caught up in it. It's so funny how quickly the game changes because 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, I was praising Vicky and Vince for oh my God, Vince and Mickey for playing the best games. And now they're 2 of the sloppiest games. I brought that up last week. And Vince is just all over the place. He has nobody, I think. I think he thinks he has everybody, including Morgan, including Keanu, including Kelly, which Kelly needs to cut ties. That's number one. No more chances. He puts her up as a pawn. She still thinks he's his number 2.
She has no one. That's why she's doing it.
But it's too little too late, which is why I think Keanu was upset with Vince, because Vince needed to go to the other side. Vince needed to go with Lauren. Lauren needs to step up. She is kind of gradually getting there. But again, She's like, I don't want to make any waves. Well, now you're on the bottom. Now you're on the other half of the house that doesn't have the numbers. Lauren needs to get with Keanu. They need to get Vincent if he can't, but I don't think he will. He'll go to where the numbers are with Rachel on that side of the house. And we'll break down everybody individually. But again, it twitches so fast. I think Will is in the number one position right now.
Yes. I think
everybody
so
loves Will. Okay, including the audience, including the house. And he doesn't want to win any competitions, doesn't make any waves. No one expects him to. He's the guy you want to take to the final two. And he'd be happy, I feel like, going into that final two and winning second prize. But you got to watch out because he's so likable. If you get someone that's very unliked in that final two chair, he might just walk away with it.
If it was him and Rachel in the final two, who do you think would win?
See, when we played, I gave, well, you won the first time and everyone knew that was coming, but I gave Rachel my vote too. We were friends in the house, but we did have our ups and downs, but she played the best game and I had to give it to her that year. She won and you had to give it to the best player. If you're going strictly off of Big Brother and not likability, and it's Rachel and Will in the final two chairs, you got to give it to Rachel. And even the house guests during the show are like, if Rachel makes it to final two, I'm voting for her. Well, then why don't you get her out, banana heads?
Because they're scared. I don't get it. I'm like, what are you doing? Vince had the opportunity to backdoor her and she would have gone and it would have, I think different alliances would have formed if Rachel wasn't there. And then the other side loses a number and it was a dumb move on Vince.
I think so too. I get we're not even a jury yet. And we have one more I believe we have one more house guest getting evicted and then jury starts.
I think so. A double eviction has to be coming up soon.
Because they have a lot of house guests.
One thing, though, I did want to say I was confused about when Mickey saved herself in the veto competition. I was so confused when they were in that, what is it called? The storage room.
Yeah.
And Mickey, Rachel, and Morgan were all cheering. And then I thought Morgan and Mickey were having problems. And then I thought Mickey and Rachel were having problems. And maybe I missed something.
But they're in that alliance of five. I don't even know what they're called.
Yeah, but they all got into it. So I was like, oh, and everybody seemed like they didn't want Mickey winning that veto. So it just shows where she's at in that alliance.
Right. Yeah. But that five is running the house if they stick together. There's always cracks in every single alliance and every season of Big Brother, but they could run the table at this point if they wanted to. They have the majority of the house, but they're going to start eating each other at some point. The only people left are Kelly, Lauren, and Ava's not in that group, right? It's Ashley, Mickey, Morgan, Vince, and Will.
Okay.
So Ava's kind of on the outside too. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think this is going to determine a lot who wins HOH this week. But if you want to break down how everyone's playing, and then we'll just take questions the rest of the time and see what the audience is thinking.
I was sad to see Katherine go. I thought we didn't see enough of her.
Yeah, and we didn't touch on the whole relationship with Katherine and Riley last week. I know the internet's on fire with that, and a lot of people are upset and even made TMZ how he was treating her. Again, we don't watch the live feeds. We watch CBS. I have heard the rumblings. It'd be interesting to talk to those two and see how they feel on the outside. Because again, I made a joke about Vince when we start off and we have our opinions about people. I want the best for these people. You guys got to know what it's like to be in that house. And unless you know what it's like to be in that house and the mental game that's playing in your head, whether people like you or not, and trying to be accepted, it's like being in grammar school or high school times 100 to the max. Even if you're an adult, those feelings still hurt you. You want to make everybody proud. You want to make your family proud, your friends proud. You want America to love you. And then when they don't and they get off and you get mean comments and this, it breaks you. It breaks the best of people. It broke me. And so I want to be kind to everybody. You know what I mean? It's fun to make jokes. It's fun to be that, Monday morning quarterback, whatever that saying is, and do that. But at the same time, I want the best for these kids at this point,
Yeah, and people don't realize what is out there on the internet. I mean, thank God when we were on, we didn't have TikTok and Instagram, and people really exaggerate things on and just to get people going and just to get people watching, like clickbait. And it really affects you when you get out of that house, and it's very mentally draining. And I think the biggest fear is when you get out of there, you don't know what people have been thinking because you have just been surrounded by house guests the whole time. So when you get out, you're like, wait, do people like me or do people hate me? So when we were on, for example, the house was against us. So I thought everybody hated us.
Yeah.
And when I walked out on finale night, I saw my brother and I asked him, I go, does everybody hate me? And I was so worried because I was like, that's going to affect me with like working at the hair salon. That's going to affect like my life. That's going to affect how people treat me on the outside world. And it's just like shows like The Bachelor. They show a girl on there and she gets wasted at one of the, whatever they call it, ceremonies. And back in the day, that's how it used to be. And they'd serve them alcohol and then they kind of make a fool of themselves. And that's kind of like how people think that they are in real life, and they're not.
Yeah, I know. I get it. It's a pressure cooker, and I guess you really don't know unless you're in there. But the best example I could give is being back in high school and, sitting at the lunch table by yourself. It's not a great feeling. And imagine America feeling that way about you. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's get back to the players that are still in the game. And actually, let's take some questions because we want to really rock on those tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again for tuning in.
What did you think of Keanu's current game? I feel like he's trying. I think his social game could be a little bit better. Not trusting people. He kind of goes back and forth. But again, he doesn't have numbers. He doesn't have anybody. I do like that he's like, I need you. I need you, Vince. And he's given him so many tries. I think he has a good heart and he means well. But I think everybody needs to get tougher.
He's too trusting and nobody really trusts him. His social game isn't great, but his athletic ability in those comps are through the roof. So it kind of balances out. I love that he's playing hard. I love that he's entertaining. We're Team Keanu here from the beginning. So I'm sticking with them. By the way, all my picks are still in. Really? Keanu was my pick to win. Morgan was my pick to win. And Mickey was my sleeper. So they're all in. So all my picks are in. So we're still Team Keanu. But I really, when he went up to Vince and kind of threw Rachel under the bus, telling him like throw the back door, I knew 100% Vince was going to go tell.
I know, but he doesn't.
And again,
know
you're
that.
Looking from the inside out, but he does now.
Now
you know
he knows.
I mean? And Kelly knows 1,000 times over that Vince can't be trusted. And I think the whole house has that type of feeling. Vince really can't be trusted.
No, I don't think anybody.
So
even Rachel doesn't.
I think Keanu's playing a good game. I really hope somebody from that side of the house wins HOH. If Keanu won, that'd be amazing. If Kelly won, I think that'd be amazing. Lauren would have to step up and make a big move. And I think it'd be good just to balance the numbers out. It'd be a little bit even going into jury. And I'd like to see that. I always vote for the underdogs. And right now they're the underdogs in the house. Yeah. Let's take another one.
Do you think Rachel was rude to Kelly in the backyard? I felt so sorry for her. These newbies are so scared to make a move. Rachel needs to go. That's what I was talking about earlier. I felt bad for Kelly because, again, that house is so hard. And when everybody's against you, it's very lonely. There's so much downtime. And when people don't like you and it's awkward and you're all in the backyard, I was like, I want to be her friend. It made me feel bad.
Yeah. Nobody likes to be bullied and nobody likes to see that, especially, having kids, and nobody wants that for their kids. But like Jordan said, when you're down in there and the whole house is against you, and I had this feeling our first time we played, there's nowhere to hide. You can't go in a room and cry by yourself like you would at home if somebody picked on you at school. You lay in a room and all the cameras focus on you going through your feelings. So not only are you feeling ostracized from the house, you're also feeling, oh my God, America's looking at me right now. In addition, my family's looking at me, my good friends, and they're seeing me at my weakest moment. So I don't know what Kelly does on the live feeds. What they showed on the show was, I think a couple people that were riding high right now, riding their high horse. And it always changed. Once you're up here one week, you're down here and you start seeing those
and you start seeing people's true personalities come out.
Right.
Like when you're at the bottom and you have nothing and you're on the verge of going home, you see their true colors come out.
Right. But I also get you got to do your thing and play your game and stick up for yourself. So I don't know. It just looks sad. Maybe because I have kids, I have more emotions.
Well, it's probably harder, like Kelly's family watching her at home. It's probably giving them fire. Like, come on. They were probably jumping up and down tonight when she won the Blockbuster.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. So those are the cool moments. And then when you overcome that adversity, that not only builds your character as a person, those are lifelong things that you take with you, even though it is just a silly game. So I do love that part.
What does that say? Does the wall goo taste good, like Kelly said?
Oh, did they spray something in her mouth or something? I missed that part.
I think it was the wall comp.
Yeah.
When they get slimed.
And I don't know if
I don't
tasted
know if we ever got slimed like that.
Yeah, like that.
No,
I don't think slimed, but I don't remember tasting it.
No, I didn't like all that, like getting sprayed.
But it's fun for the audience.
No, it's fun for the audience, but it gets cold out there at night. And when you get sprayed, you start to shivering, and then you have to control your shivers.
So I would say no. I'd say no, it doesn't taste good.
I don't
and I'd make fun of Kelly for saying that. After all my talk and not making fun of people.
Who would Will nominate if he won HOH? I agree. He needs to win. He needs to win in a letter from home. I don't think he's going to try to win HOH.
I think he does want a letter from home. I absolutely think that he misses his family, and I think he deserves a letter from home. But if he does, he's got some big decisions to make, and I don't think necessarily that he would make them himself. I think Rachel would be in his ear. I think Morgan, Ashley, Mickey, I think that whole crew would be in his ear, and he would just follow suit. I would love him to stand on his own 2 feet and make his decisions, but I don't think he wants to rock the boat. But he is a strong dude, so you never know. That'd be actually interesting if he did win, to see if he's like, you know what, I'm going to play my game, and this is what I feel like doing. So I'd like to see that, and I think maybe he would make his own decision.
I don't think he wants to win HOH, because then it would kind of show where where he's thinking, and he's so perfect with everybody right now in the house that I wouldn't want to win.
If I were him, I'd continue to not do anything, because he's on nobody's radar, and everybody loves him.
Listen, if I win, I'll see my wife in the 750,000.
Yeah, he's got to know, he could talk to the cameras. I love you. You guys could see me every day. Yeah. I'm doing this for you. And he's doing a great job. Yeah. So whatever he does, I hope wish him the best, but let's see some gameplay.
I know we talked about this the last time. I cannot stand those shout outs with
in the diary room.
Oh my gosh, I can't stand it. It's so annoying. It's like, just cast your vote and get out.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. We know how you feel.
I know.
Let's take another one.
Do you guys remember those looks Rachel gives you when you guys played? My favorite was when Chuff told her he couldn't taste anymore because he bit his tongue so much that he bit it off. I do remember that.
We were at the pool.
Yeah.
I do remember that too.
And you would get fired up.
Listen, it's very interesting playing with Rachel. It's very, very interesting, that dynamic with her. I think the house guests now are more intimidated with her. When we played with her, we were partners, right? It was like kind of the vets versus the newbies, and I was tight with Brennan, and I would talk to Brennan like, we got to control Rachel because she's very emotional, and she swings from, her emotions swing hard from one happy to sad and vindictive, and it's very hard to keep her in a box. I don't know how to say that.
I feel like this year she's a little more controlled than she was.
Right, but she's way more intimidating this year. On our season, I didn't feel intimidated at all. I don't know if anybody felt intimidated. It was just keeping her emotions in check.
Maybe because we were all around the same age, because I never felt
and we played before.
Yeah. I think maybe because these people now playing are 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is playing that intimidation card, and it's working. It's working. However you want to play the game.
But that's great about Big Brother is you can play, you can be like Lauren and super quiet, and you can make it in the final 2, or you just got to win when you need to in the finals.
Yeah. But I remember trying to keep my emotions inside, which is a bit of lifelong struggle for me, controlling my own emotions. So I don't mean to throw stones in a glass house here, but I do remember we need Rachel on our team, and we need to keep her in check. That was kind of the difficulty working with her on that season.
Okay, next question. If y'all were in the house right now, what alliance would you be on?
I always pull for the underdogs, like I said, because we were underdogs when we played that first time, and I kind of go off of that season because it was such a magical season. I would be working with Keanu, even though it's easy to say Keanu, man. I think he would trust me. I just be like, you can't be running back to Vince. You can't be running back to Rachel. You gotta stick with us. We're in this to the end,
So if we were, let's say, the very beginning, right? When everybody was in the house and Rachel came out and walked in, if we were all playing again, I think we would have teamed up with Rachel because we played with her before.
Of course. Yeah, that's
she
a
would be a
no-brainer.
number. And then I would have done like Riley, Katherine, Lauren, Keanu, Kelly. That would have been mine. And then I would have brought Rachel on our side.
I think I would have been boys with Will just because we'd be the older guys in the house. So I think I definitely would have been on the couch with Will more talking about being a parent. So I think he would be in my crew. And Will and Keanu, I think, would be in my crew. I think the other girls, I think I might be a little bit too old and it'd be creepy if I tried to get like,
yeah,
hey, do you want to be in Alliance? Ew, you weirdo.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Morgan needs to go. Do you think Morgan will be up Vince's butt all this week when he is not HOH?
Morgan.
I know. I loved Morgan.
Yeah, she's my pick to win, but she's trying. I don't know what it is. She's trying too much to protect too many people and worried about too many other people's games. But she's also trying to advance her game while doing that. But while she's doing that, she's kind of taking it. People are looking at her and being like, I don't know if I trust you now.
Right.
Because she's trying to protect everybody. And in doing so, she's losing trust with other people in the house.
She needs to just focus on her game.
I think she's still doing good. I don't mean it like she's up next, but she very well might be. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to see who wins HOH.
Yeah, I have no idea who's going to go. Did Katherine lose from bad strategy or Showmance loyalty?
We were saying the same question. That was a good question. If Riley wasn't in the house, would she be in a different position?
I don't know. I think she played like Lauren, just kind of under the radar, laying low. I think in a way the Showmance kind of hurt her. But then again, I feel like Rachel was trying to prove a point to Lauren because Lauren used the veto.
Right.
And she was just trying to make a point like, I'm going to put him up.
Yeah, I think so too. She even said herself that Riley advanced her in the game. So, I mean, you could look, again, that's another strategy. Do Showmances work? They do, because one season we played, Jordan won, and the other season we played, Rachel won. So for us, when we played, they did work, but I totally get how they do hurt some couples. I guess if you win, it's great. If you lose, you say you blame it on that. But she said herself that Showmance advanced her game, even though neither of them made it to jury.
Yeah, and it's the other side just never won HOH. Yeah. It's all about the numbers.
And the what if games will.
Oh yeah, that'll eat you alive.
Eat you alive. Yeah, for sure.
Tonight after the eviction, when you're in the hotel room and you're just laying there and you're like, oh my gosh, I could have done this. And then you want to talk to your family. Can you talk to your family tonight? I think you can, because you get your cell phone back.
Oh, if you're not in jury.
Yeah, because she's not in jury. So she gets her phone back.
Probably. When you get off the show, you go through a whole debriefing. At least we did when we got off the show. So it's a little bit different. You talk to a therapist. You do that. We've mentioned that before. Before and after you go on the show. They're there for you if you need to talk to somebody, because I don't know what day they're on, but they're getting close to that.
50 something. Julie said it. I forgot what.
Yeah, they're past that breaking point. You know what I mean? So you do need like some professional people calming you down and people of positivity around you. And it is a big culture shock, even though it's day 50, you get to day 80 or 100. That's a whole different game. But it's so funny. We put on game shows when I'm at work, and Let's Make a Deal was on, and you had to go higher or lower than 2009. And one of the movies that they had on there was Bridesmaids. And I was at my desk playing. I'm like, oh, that's over. That was 2011. Everyone's like, how'd you know that? I'm like, because I watched that stupid movie when I got kicked out of Big Brother in 2011.
Oh,
so I remember getting kicked out in the second time we were on season 13. And I think I've told this story before, not to get away from the season that we're on right now. But when you're in jury, you actually share a connecting room with a police officer that watches over you to make sure you're not making phone calls or sneaking out and nobody's coming in your room to protect you, but you have your own room. And I remember he's like, go shower, come in my room. I'm going to order us steaks and we're going to watch a funny movie. And so I was like, what is this movie? He goes, this movie came out. It's Bridesmaids. It's hilarious. And he's laughing. And he just looks at me. He's like, quit being a little bitch and start laughing at this movie. He's like a big buff guy with a mustache. And I was just pouting, eating my steak. I was so mad. I was knocked out. But I'll always remember that because now I see him when I used to work for Big Brother. And I don't know, he's just a funny guy.
He is a really funny
guy.
In
that moment, it was like almost one of my buddies being like, dude, snap out of it, man. It's a game. You know what I mean? But you're in such a culture shock that whole Big Brother is your literal world right now. And when you get out, you're almost like, what's this? Yeah. You know, like it's not like you're in prison for years and years, but I'm telling you guys, it's really a mind fuck.
Yeah.
That's the way I could
put it. I had to beg on finale night because I had a lady officer in a conjoined room, and I had to like beg for my mom to be able to come in the room with me. I was like, can she please sleep with me? And me and my mom stayed.
You mean after you won?
After I won.
Yes, yeah. And because people were like, what?
Oh, no.
Not the second time, the first time.
The first time. And me and my mom stayed up. So they came in my room at like 4:35 a.m. to do interviews, like press stuff.
Yeah.
And me and my mom just stayed up all night because the officer was like, you have to promise me that you're going to go to bed. And I was like, I promise. And me and my mom were like little girls just whispering to each other. I was like asking her all these questions.
Because you're probably used to staying up till 6 a.m. in the Big Brother house anyway.
Yeah. You know, so your adrenaline is still going. You're like, I was just asking my mom about everybody back at home and like if she was proud of me, if I embarrassed her. Because before I left for Big Brother, she goes, don't you forget that we still live here. And because I was always blunt and would say things and shock factor back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know what that feels like. Winning a show. All right, let's take another question.
Who actually gained the most this week? I would say Rachel.
Good question.
I think Rachel, that other alliance. I think Vince isn't in a good situation because now the other side's mad at him. I think Rachel.
I think you're right. I want to say you're right. I think Rachel did. I think Rachel solidified her side of the house.
Yeah.
I think this, again, nothing against Rachel, just watching from the outside, there's going to run out of times when you're like, oh, now is not a good time to get Rachel. And she is by far playing the best game. And there's no way in hell. I don't know what Vince is thinking. Even if Vince makes it a final two with Rachel, Vince is never winning. No, Rachel's going to win. So not taking that shot just gave another side to Rachel's side of the house. And I know Vince is in that alliance with them, but I think he's at the bottom of that totem pole.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Let's just answer a couple more questions and then we got to get off here. I got to get my kids to bed. Your self-proclaimed all-time favorite DBL tech producer just connected and loves you, Sharon.
I was like, wait, where's this going?
I love it. I knew it was funny. Before I saw the name. I was like, it's either Sharon or Kelly.
Sharon, you cutie. She always keeps up with me. We used to work together at DBL. Now she's over at the station that I used to be at. She's my competitor now. So we'll be seeing her on the softball field, 9 News versus Channel 2 News.
No, you guys are the same.
I know we are. We got bought out. Yeah. So, hey, Sharon, we're going to be back together again. Thanks for writing in, Sharon. We love you.
Has there been a majority female cast up till now? I don't think so. And it's happening by accident. Every all-female alliance has failed. But how is this cast doing it?
I don't know. People get really hung up with things like that. I think they're just playing the game, which I love. I haven't heard them say, let's be all girls and get all the guys out. I don't know if that's their initial reaction. It might be from watching the live feeds. That might be their plan, but I'm glad they're not focused on that. Just play the game. If it turns out that all the girls win and women power, I'm all for that. You know what I mean? But if you're all for that on every show and you're just, I don't like how it breaks up into like social issues. Just play the game.
Right.
You know, I don't like when social issues get involved.
Right.
You know,
play Big Brother.
Yeah. But I mean, good for the women. I didn't even notice that till Julie mentioned that the last 4 people evicted were guys. I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice either. There's talk of a triple eviction.
Ooh.
What do you think about this? I think that will, that would be exciting.
That'd be history.
It would be great. And that's when you make your big moves.
That would be completely
because then you don't have to face the person that you're getting rid of.
That's where, you know what? I got to be honest. I think the house is very intimidated with Rachel. And I think they're all waiting for that double eviction so they don't have to face the wrath. That's what I feel like. They might not be saying that in the house, but I truly feel if you think other than Rachel that you're going to the finals with Rachel and winning, if you're in that house thinking that, you're delusional. They have to know that they are getting outplayed. They have to.
I don't know. I almost think sometimes I don't even think they have any idea. I think
they gotta know. You gotta be like, man, who could I beat? Who could I not? I guess when you start thinking like that, that's when you get knocked out. Because when I was in the final 5, I'm like, oh man, this is what's gonna happen. And I was already spending the money and then
out. And I went out. Okay, let's answer one more question. Does the order of eviction votes ever tip off the house guest as to who's voting together?
Janelle, thanks for the question. You know what? That's interesting you said that, because I think a lot of people think that the order matters. And I really do think it matters to production, not to the viewers. So for instance, today, I forgot who they were talking about, but they had them in the shot. It was, who was it? It was Rachel. Maybe it was Rachel. And then I can't remember who it was, but I did notice that shot from the production team. And I do remember being on the couch and I was always next to Jordan because they wanted to get like a 2 shot of us. So I did notice that. This is like behind the scenes. And again, I didn't work in production for Big Brother. I'm just guessing from what I see. And they did a shot where Julie mentions Rachel, and then the next person Julie mentions is right next to her. So there is a reason why people sit where they sit, and they tell you on eviction night where to sit.
I forgot about that. I totally
right.
Forgot
Don't they in the
that.
house are like, Jeff, you're next to this, and they tell you where to sit.
Yeah, it's been so
the
long.
veto, you kind of go wherever you want, but I believe on eviction night there is a method to their madness.
Probably because they have to get the cameras and the angles right,
and who they're talking about, and mixes up with their storyline. I do believe there is a reason they do that, but I'm not 100%. All right, one more. It's half an hour.
All right, one more. Do you believe Rachel and Keanu can repair the relationship without turning on each other until the end? No, I think it's done.
I don't. I wouldn't mind seeing it, because that would be interesting to see a Keanu Rachel final. I don't know what would happen as far as votes go, because Keanu really proved himself and Rachel's playing a great Big Brother game.
Them two are, I feel like, the most deserving out of everybody in the house.
Yeah, I think they're really the high.
And Kelly too. Kelly's won in the Blockbuster and has saved herself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't want to put down other people. They're all playing a good game, but I think the stars of the show right now, so to speak, are Keanu and Rachel. And I like them trying to team up together. That was exciting for a day, but then going against each other is great for us, the viewer, to watch.
Exactly.
All right, let's wrap up real fast. Everyone, how they're doing.
Okay.
I know you're tight, love. We'll get out of here. I had a long day too. Ashley.
She just teams up with everybody, has everybody protecting her. I don't think she's really doing much.
Other than week 1, she's having a great summer camp.
Yeah.
She looks like she's having a good time in there. Ava?
I still don't really have much of an opinion. I just feel like it's just awkward. There's always faces, or, they were talking in the bedroom when she was taking a nap. Lauren and Ashley were talking, and Lauren didn't realize that she was taking a nap. I don't know. She's probably sweet. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think she's tight with people, but she's kind of I don't know. She's kind of floating around the house.
I think she's somebody I would have to watch the live feeds to know who she is.
Yeah. I don't know. But you never know. She could, maybe she's playing possum. Who knows? Catherine's gone. Kelly?
I feel bad for her because I feel like she's all by herself. I hope her and Keanu work together. I mean, she needs someone in the house, and she's by herself. I actually hope she wins HOH.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. She is playing a strong game. She is a good character on the show. Lauren, I think, is starting to come into her own when she stood up to Rachel with that veto. I think she knows now, like, man, maybe I shouldn't have played it so soft when I won my HOH. Now we're on the bottom. That's the thing. You're like, you know, I'm going to lay low. I'm going to win HOH, not make any waves, and just put up what the house wants me to put up. But everyone's playing triple time, and they're using you to put up who they want. And now Lauren's seeing that, like, I probably should have did what I wanted on that instead of not making any
And
waves.
I think Lauren, not only is she beautiful, but I think she's smart too.
Yeah. So hopefully she teams up with the other side of the house. Mickey.
I don't know what she's gonna do this week. I'm kind of with you when you said she's playing the best game, and then it was kind of like a sloppy game. I don't really know. It's kind of what I said about Ava. I got to watch the live feeds to kind of get an idea where Mickey and Morgan are, because I can't tell if they're together, who they like, if they're with the alliance. I don't know.
Well, you know what's interesting about Mickey? She was playing a great game because she was in a great position. When your back's against the wall and you're on the block and you're literally playing veto or that BB buyback or whatever it is for your life, then you really see who the person is. And Mickey cracked a little bit this week, cracked her alliance a little bit this week because she thought she was really going home. She won veto and now she's back to hugging everybody. Yeah. So I want to see some other people who haven't been on the block really feeling it. Ashley felt it week 1.
I do think Mickey's smart.
I think so too. So, but it's going to be interesting to see if she cracked that alliance enough that they make a move against her or this bonds them together. Right. Morgan,
same thing I said about Mickey. I think we were talking about this earlier, trying to please everybody too much. Just focus on yourself.
Yeah, I like Morgan a lot. She was my pick to win for the girls, so I hope she steps up. I think she's in a good position being on the majority side of the house. It's all going to depend on what happens this week. But I do think even if the other side wins, in my opinion, she's good. Yeah. There's other fish to fry on that side of the house.
Yeah, I think she's good. Keanu, I want him to win HOH. He's going to have to fight for his life every week until the end. Yeah, he has no alliance members, but if he could crack that other side and get some people to come to him, that other side, though, is pretty solid.
He had 2 weeks of not going on the block, which I think in his head now, he feels like he's indestructible and he could win every single competition. He is amazing at competitions. It just doesn't turn out like that. Right. The competitions are so random that there's no way you're going to win them all. I'm pulling for you, buddy, but I'm pulling for you.
Yeah. Vince, I don't like his game right now. He's just too all over the place. And I feel like he's burned so many people. I don't like that. So I don't like his game right now.
I don't either.
This week, I don't like his game.
The crying and
the fake tears. No.
Yeah. And the final 2 with everybody. Vince, I thought you were playing a good game, buddy, but not for me. Not for me.
Will, I think he's in the best position in the whole house. I think he'd make it in the final 2.
Yeah, Will's going to be tough to beat. I think everybody loves Will. We love Will. And he's not doing much, but he's likable. Yeah. And that's another strategy, another way to go.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Don't forget Mondays and Wednesdays, regular podcast episodes. Sorry, I had to end this. I got to get my kids to bed and I'm a little under the weather today. So have a wonderful night. Thank you all for tuning in to this live every week. Next Thursday, we will have another live, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to reach out to some people.
I've reached out to some, but we'll see.
Yeah, we've been reaching out, but hopefully we get someone good on next week, get a little insight, maybe from a former house guest. Well, they'll all be former house guests, right?
Or someone from the past.
Well, they'll all be from the past.
You know what we are. You know what.
All right, Jordan's tie. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for all your questions, and thanks for tuning in on this weird hour. Bye, everybody.